It has been a massive week for the unemployed. CollarGate is what everyone is calling it. Has Hasan become a Sith Lord and Emperor Palpatine his poor dog Kaya? Now this is one of the rare opportunities where somebody such as myself, who really does not enjoy engaging in politics of any kind whatsoever, I'm able to cover this controversy with Hasan at the focal point, as it has nothing to do with the fact that he's one of the largest political streamers on the planet. Now if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, CollarGate, you know, Hasan shocking his dog, bless your heart. I don't know why you're here. Maybe you're my mom. Love you. But if you're not up to speed, do not fret. We are going over everything from the initial incident to every single little piece of this that has come out from then to allow you guys to make your own decisions of whether or not he shocked his dog. Now, two things to get out of the way. Number one, none of my political interests or lack thereof have anything to do with how I am going over and doing research about this or making any judgment calls myself. None of what we've done research on has anything to do with the politics of anyone that is showcasing the evidence. If good points are made or evidence is being shown, I'm just looking at that. I don't care about the surrounding stuff, but I've done my best to look into what has come out and made sure that it could be validated, or at least it rationally makes sense. Secondly, just to be completely honest with you guys, I've looked at a lot of stuff and overall, looks like, yeah, he shocked his dog. I am not making this video as a persuasive essay to convince you of that point, but after looking at the evidence, it seems like a lot of the information is pointing at Hasan definitely did it, and a lot of his stories and a lot of points that he's made or ways that he's tried to explain this away have come up short, or he has backtracked or has just made attempts to completely rewrite what has happened. I'd rather be upfront about that right now so you don't feel like I'm trying to hoodwink you or anything, and you're aware of where I'm at before we get into this. But with all of that out of the way, let's get started with the inciting incident.
Such a first world problem, but it is emblematic of all of America's much more consequential violence. Okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop. Jesus Christ, what are you doing? You're being such a baby. You're making her stressed. She just literally is so incredibly spoiled from my mom. No, she doesn't want to come over here to see what's up. She just wants to fucking roam the house because she got to roam the house when I was gone.
All right, so now I'm going to play it for you guys again. I want to show you guys what people were pointing out when they saw this. Obviously, you heard the dog yelp. I'm going to slow it down just so you guys can see the main issues that people noticed or the things that they found peculiar about this. First thing is that as the dog starts to walk over here, you're going to see Hasan look towards, I believe, his camera over on the other side. And then he goes, Kaya, please. And he's going to freak out at her. And you notice he looks over, he leans over, goes to touch something. And then as she walks up, you hear her yelp and she jumps back into her spot here. And so you can see here, just kind of as I'm angling it here, you can see that they are wearing this collar. And this collar looks, you know, pretty big. Kind of, just from a glance, looks a bit like a shock collar. It's got, you know, the black device, it's plastic, you know, it's glinting off of the light here. And then as they walk over, and this is kind of important, as they're getting back onto their little mat there, you're going to see them lift their foot, and that's when they yelp out. And I'll just play that really quiet here. You'll also notice, as other people had mentioned, that he doesn't react to her yelping. And you notice that he leans over, looks over on his table, reaches over. There's a couple of reasons that he gives for why he does that, but he doesn't check on her after the yelp, which is a bit weird, especially if you don't know why they're doing that. Like, you just ask them to go back onto their mat. Why would they yelp? Like, something hurt them. You should figure out why that is. A lot of people were claiming, well, since he pressed a button and shocked her with the shock collar, he knew why she yelped, which is why he didn't react. And so that's the start of this incident, and it quickly starts to snowball. And of course, there are widespread reactions to this. One of the more notable ones, for instance, here being Ethan Klein calling out Hasan for the Kaya clip. Horrifying animal cruelty by Hasan as he activates her shock collar for one tiny step off of her bed. She cries in pain. Poor baby always thought it was extremely bizarre that his young, energetic pup never took a step off bed. And so that's his post that I'm assuming came from Instagram. Now you also have XQC going hog wild. He's been doing a lot of the coverage of this as it's been coming out, and he's been doing a lot of like research into it, looking at the clips that we're going to be looking at today. So you're going to see him quite a few times here. He's very invested and interested interested in this entire thing. Asmongold also watches it. We see some other clips that we're going to be seeing later as well. This one, notably, as you're seeing right now, is they're talking with this individual, and Hasan removes the collar from Kaya, and then you're going to see him slide it under the table so it's not in frame. Now, the people that I've shown you so far all believe that Hasan shocked his dog, but I do have one that is kind of in opposition to that. That is iDubbbz's wife, Anissa. She tweets out, "I'm a big dog advocate. Love training dogs with positive reinforcement, as you can tell with Merlin and Fiona on Ian's streams. I've met Kaya. I saw Kaya while Hasan was streaming. She never had a shock collar on. She was good at her place command, but that's very easily accomplished with positive reinforcement. I would be very, very surprised if this is actually Kaya reacting to a shock collar." Now, at this point in time, Anissa is kind of right. Like, we don't actually have full confirmation that the collar around Kaya's neck, outside of just looking at it, seeing the plastic bits, knowing that that's not like typically what you're going to see on a collar, and that really is just, we're just making guesses here. And so regardless of what you think one way or the other, even if you're just going off of the body language with Kaya, how Hasan reacted, Anissa therefore is kind of bringing up a good point, which is that we don't actually know yet if this is a shock collar. So this all happened on the day of the initial incident, October 7th. The following day, we get a bit more information. Now, the thing that is most important for you, the viewer, as we keep going, is to try your best to make sure that you're keeping track of the story, of the arguments that are being laid out. A big issue that I have with Hasan's narrative, or the points that he tries to bring to the table, is that they are transient. They are constantly changing. And this is about to be the first of many different narratives that Hasan uses to try to explain away what happened with Kaya.
Is there like a fucking LSF video or something? Is that why there's like hella people coming in here and screeching? Is that what's going on? Oh, classic. It started on D, then H3, then LSF is the classic pipeline. I'm gonna fucking die, dude. Yes, I am incredibly abusive to the not only best trained, but also the best behaving and most spoiled dog on the planet. Is from when Kaya yelped. Yeah, she yelped because she fucking clipped herself on something when she was getting off the bed.
Okay, so his first kind of bringing up the point again has to do with Kaya being an excellent, very well-behaved dog, even though he was very upset with her for stepping off her bed, and also explains away the yelp as her clipping herself on her bed as she was getting up. And I think just kind of using your head, you would expect, especially with Kaya showing up a lot in his streams and sitting in this little spot behind him all the time, that this would be something that has happened more than just this one time. But again, it could have just been a one-off instance when she heard him yell Kaya and she tried to get back up. Okay. Now, people went back and watched that video. She did yelp as she was lifting her last foot back onto the mat. People weren't noticing that she was clipping it on anything, but again, could have been tough to see. The more notable confusion with that is the fact that Hasan did not follow up by checking to see if Kaya was okay in any way. It's the strangest part of that defense that he's using. But moving on, we get another instance coming from Yeet here of Hasan saying the same thing and denying the shock collar allegations. Says, quote, "Most well-trained / spoiled, best kept after dog on planet is actually being abused. Suspect it's coming from crazy haters. Yeah, in my evil villain lair, good thing I didn't hit the trap door button."
They're claiming that the most well-trained and the most spoiled, best kept after dog on the planet is actually being abused by me, apparently, because I gave her the place command while she was getting off. And then she yelped. These shadows don't know she broke the other beds. Yeah, she'd broken the previous bed. Bro, that dog is being abused. 4-hour streams every day of Hasan. I can't imagine. Yeah. And I suspect it's coming from, you know, some crazy haters. They said you shocked her with a button. Yeah, in my evil villain lair. Good thing I didn't hit the fucking trapdoor button instead on accident. She reviewed food online. She yelped. No, she went when she was getting off the bed. Because I assume she like either stepped funny or clipped her fucking foot on something. I don't know.
So he does stick to the point that he thinks that the reason that she yelped had to do with her clipping her leg, maybe her dew claw. You'll hear that get brought up a few times. But now he's also inserting that he had given her a place command, which is interesting because that did not happen. The reason I know this is because I know the command for place is place. And he didn't say that at all during this. He got very upset and said, Kaya, please, and tried to get her to go back, and then she yelped and did her thing. But there was no place command issued. Unless for him, the place command also includes him rolling his eyes and whining at Kaya to get her to go back to her spot. Apparently, she had also broken a bed before. It didn't seem like her lifting her leg had done any damage, but maybe we're just assuming that they're breaking for other reasons, maybe because she is catching her leg on it, not sure. But moving on. Now, we also had this post from Ethan as he was going over everything, and he made a point of showcasing these two clips towards the end that kind of make it look worse. Now, this first one involves this lady here. I'm going to show it in better quality here in just a sec. But then additionally, I just wanted to show this one at the end. He brings this up. I'm not quite sure what time or what time frame this was taken in. Clearly different spot than where he is now. But he goes into talking about the fact that he owns a shock collar, but he couldn't bring himself to use it.
They wanted to use a shock collar for fish, and his dog's barking. I couldn't do it. I have it still. I bought it.
Now that does say that, yeah, he has a shock collar that he owns at that time frame. I don't think that that's proving that he shocked Kai or anything. They brought up the information. It's been talked about, but there's going to be more down the line that looks a lot worse for Hasan than just that clip alone. Other people were also able to get better shots or angles of Kaya wearing a collar that is very clearly the same one as the one that she was wearing on that day. And you can see this really big white spot. There's a light coming off of it. And we're going to later on find out which specific model of collar that they found that matches up with this directly. Now, leading into the next part of this drama, people start uncovering stuff from Hasan's past. For example, what I had mentioned earlier, this is one of Hasan's guests making a point that what Kai is wearing is too tight around their neck.
And now it's mainstream. I love her. I think her collar is too tight.
Yeah, well, it's here we get.
You have to be able to get two fingers, and I couldn't even get one. I think you're choking her.
She's like, it's because she has a lot of neck meat.
Now you'll notice here too, like I said earlier, Hasan goes out of his way to move the collar under the desk and put it out of frame over here. Now he could just be doing that for the sake of the frame. Other people were arguing that he didn't want people to have a good look at the collar. Now here's a clip that kind of piqued my interest. This showed up on Livestream Fail. Old clip of Hasan Piker telling a dog to stay or I'm gonna fucking kill you, and pulling it by the tail resurfaces.
Stay. If you run right now, I'll fucking kill you. Like, I'll actually kill you, okay? In front of everyone. Stay. Motherfucker, come here. Stay. No, come here.
I think people might find it interesting that that's how he interacts with the dog in this video. And then the thing that I have a bigger issue with, the fact that he grabbed and pulled the dog by its tail. I'm surprised it didn't yelp out. That's not good. I don't think outside of maybe being 5 years old, I've ever thought that it was okay to pull a dog by their tail. It's incredibly painful for the dog, but also the person who had posted this clip goes a bit more in depth and explains it a bit more. Pulling by the tail can cause damage. A dog's tail is an extension of the spine. It is made up of vertebrae, muscles, and nerves. According to VCA hospitals, avulsion injuries are caused when the tail is pulled. Doing so strenuously stretches or tears nerves. In addition, breaks near the base of the tail may sever nerves. Pulling a dog's tail can damage nerves higher in the spine that control urination and defecation. These damaged nerves cause your dog to lose control over their bowels. While the nerve damage can heal, there are instances where damaged nerves leave dogs permanently incontinent. And they also provide links to where they found this information. I've had a dog in my life the entirety of it, never once, and admittedly I had miniature schnauzers, so there wasn't really a tail to grab onto, but even with the dog that I have now, it doesn't even cross my mind because it's just you're taught very early on, especially if you have dogs in your life like Hasan clearly has, that you don't do that. I didn't even know that it could lead to long-term like nerve damage. I just knew that it was painful for the dog and that was enough. At this point, we have hit peak trend. Hasan ends up being #1 trending in the United States all over this incident. At this point, there is like general traditional media covering this. Forbes has covered it, and this meme image of Kaya getting electrocuted starts circulating a ton. And you also have the New York Post covering it. This was such a big deal that Moist Critical, yet again, coming out of the woodwork and making a video talking about this, and he goes over some of the evidence that we're going to cover, and he's very much of also the belief that, yeah, Hasan definitely had a shock collar in his dog and shocked the dog. Now, some parts that you just saw there in Charlie's video have to do with the big reveal that Hasan gives on stream, where he showcases the collar that was around Kaya's neck from the original clip. And I'm just gonna let the clip roll so you guys can see it in its entirety.
This is the one that people are talking about. Okay, this is the one. This is the one that they saw. It has the capacity to vibrate, and that's it. Are you happy? That's it. Good. There's the AirTag. There's the fucking vibrator. It also has a flashlight component to it at nighttime, and it also has a tracker on it when she gets lost. If she were to actually get fucking lost, you are able to, it emits a sound. Okay? There are days where Kaya doesn't wear a collar. There are days where she wears a different collar. Okay? This, in and of itself, doesn't actually work in the way that you think it does. Okay? Here. This is the flashlight. Okay? And this is when it vibrates.
You might have noticed that Hasan wasn't really showing the collar a whole lot, or at least it's weird. Like, I'm glad he puts it on camera, but it's peculiar. Now, an important part of it to like show you guys how they're connected, you can see that big white circle on it that I believe is the AirTag, if not the flashlight. I believe that's the AirTag though. But he shows that it can turn on its flashlight and that it also buzzes. It makes a noise. It only vibrates. That's a big deal. It's a bit weird that the way he kind of just like shows it, he doesn't really like to show the backside of it very often. He does in one particular moment that actually ends up getting clipped and ends up being a focal point of attention. This spot right here looks a bit strange, that backside of it. Hasan also would make a claim that what he was reaching for in the clip, where he does say, okay, I was reaching for something, he was reaching for a pack of Zins.
What were you reaching for in the clip? What do you think? That's where all my fucking Zintins are.
Hasan ends up putting out this magnum opus, "You Are Being Lied To, period. Egads." Wow. In it, he essentially just details and goes over the Kaya CollarGate situation. It's just a collection of the clips that we've kind of gone over and a few more. But in essence, I'm actually just coming straight from, I would assume, Hasan himself. For a summary, I don't shock my dog. She has a collar that vibrates. She has to stay on her bed so she doesn't get joint problems. She gets a lot of exercise every day, and all of the internet's sweatiest influencers are trying to convince you she is abused. So now, the argument here is she has to stay on her bed so she doesn't get joint problems. She also gets a lot of exercise every day, and she has a collar that vibrates, very important. And apparently these influencers are sweaty. The sweatiest ones are coming after him. But now we start to dive into the detective work, the real investigation that had just started. There's tape on the collar. Hasan is definitely lying. This is a post from H3 Productions Reddit, of course. And this is a photo from that clip I showed you guys of him showing the collar and showing the backside of it briefly. People start raising the contrast of it, and they're noticing that the back of the collar looks a bit weird, looks a bit strange. And as we turn Hasan more and more into paleface, you're gonna start to see that this tape is really starting to stick out, or at the very least, you know, not to feed you information, the backside of this collar looks strange. It looks like there's something here covering the backside of it. And then they went further and messed around with the lighting, the coloring of it, and you can see that there's this clear rectangle kind of like blocking over the top of this. Now, it looks to be electrical tip. A lot of other people were pointing this out, that's what it kind of looks like. I think the best example is kind of showing it here. This is also just really goofy looking. This looks like me screwing around with the camera settings on like my first phone. People also start to speculate on what model of shock collar was being used, as people were assuming that this was a shock collar. And they're starting to find ones that have striking resemblance to the one that was being used. This one depicted here is a shock collar. It's got these two prongs on the back, which were absent, but you can see this lighting system here at the bottom that seems to match up with the one that he was using. You can see that little lighting system right there, and then we see the backside, of course. And it's also showing that this notch over here kind of matches up with it too. You can see it on the backside there, I believe. And also the front side of the collar here with the two, like this distinct bar going down the middle. And you can see here in these photos that it's showing that same bar going down the middle there. And then in its information listed below it, the collar has tone, vibration, and shock capabilities. The shock prongs are removable, but leave behind holes where they are screwed in. It looks like black tape has been put over the holes if you look closely. And they show that photo where it looks like they may have been hiding those holes by putting the tape over the backside. And here's a clip from Lonerbox that was blowing up on Livestream Fail, kind of going over this himself as well.
Closely match the ET300 Mini Educator half-mile remote e-collar, which does have shock prongs. It seems to match in shape and the positioning of the charging port, in the texture of the plastic, unlike this one with the much more curvy light than the one Hasan has. This one, which is vibrate only, also has its charging point on the side. The one Hasan has the charging point in the middle, much like the shocking version, where the prongs that could deliver the shock are simply removable. You can just remove them. Or apparently, maybe, plausibly, ostensibly, cover them with black tape.
Now, I think Loaderbox does make another good point here, which is that, okay, at the bare minimum, if we're making the assumption and asserting that this is the same model, then at the very least, we know it's the shock collar version where you can remove the prongs. So at a bare minimum, he has the shock collar model and has removed the prongs and covered the backside with that electrical tape. That doesn't mean that he did so after the fact. Kaya could have been wearing it in that mode where he already had the tape on the backside where it couldn't have shocked her. And that was just, people are making the assumption that he did that after the fact as sort of damage control. Moving on, Lacey gets involved. So they're doing this phase subathon at the moment, and Lacey ends up commenting on this and reveals that his dog trainer, who also trains Kaya, which is Hasan's dog, asked him if he wanted to use an e-collar.
Yeah, Chad, my dog does go to the same trainer as Hasan, but he asked me if I wanted to use an e-collar, and I said no. Like when he first trained Milo, like a few months ago, he asked if I wanted to use the e-collar, and I told him no. Don't? Yeah, no, I told him that. I think, what's it called? I think using an e-collar on dogs is just, like, bro, you could train a dog to do things without using a shock collar.
On top of that, we also have this clip from Lacey's full stream where the dog trainer is there and suggests using the collar.
You train my dog too.
And my dog.
Brian.
You said it for 2 weeks?
2 or 3 weeks. You have to, bro.
What does he get trained to do?
So everything. Shock on, strong collar, shock collar.
He'll get training to like
Kaya?
basically be off collar.
You know
Like you
Kaya?
don't need to ever have a leash on him.
Really?
Do you know Kaya?
My dog?
Cooking with Kaya?
No, my dog.
Oh, no.
Well, dude, we have the
Oh, yeah, I met your dog at
Yes.
the basketball event.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have the best
She's
dogs.
very well trained.
Oh, my God.
Bro, this dog's gotta get trained.
So at this point in time, this is when Moist Critical drops his video talking about the whole situation, where he's essentially saying he probably definitely totally shocked Kaya. And it seems like all the evidence is pointing at that. And Hasan sees that the video comes out and reacts to it. And I just think his reaction is kind of funny.
He put his fucking flag on the, he put his stake on this, okay? He was like, oh, enough people shit on him. It's good enough. It's like obviously not a, it's obviously, no matter how fucking made up a narrative it is, if a clip looks bad enough, then he will go with it. And he will just use these guys. All these guys fucking do is basically farm Reddit for talking points. And Reddit can so easily be botted and manipulated. And I don't think we're ever going to get ahead of that. There's just nothing we can do. Bro, he said you're abusing Kyle. Like, no way, fuck him. Yeah, I mean, if he thinks that, he can suck my dick. Weird how quiet he was about literal pedophilia in certain communities. I mean, it took him 2 years to fucking come out and be like, yeah, the genocide is happening and it's really fucking bad, actually. Charlie's been on a good streak lately. He genuinely cares about dogs. He talks about how much he cares about dogs and pets all the time. So do I, dumb fuck. That's the reason why I'm fucking pissed off. That's the reason why I'm fucking annoyed. He could just like unironically reach out and be like, hey, what's going on here? Like, what was this about? This clip looks bad.
So apparently, maybe I'm reading this wrong, please correct me in the comments. Hasan is making the point that Moist Critical is getting his talking points that he shared in his video with Reddit. And Reddit can be botted and impacted and influenced and manipulated. So there are these people that dislike Hasan so much that they bot and manipulate Reddit to convince Moist Critical, because all his research is only done through Reddit, per Hasan's, interpretation here, reads through these botted, manipulated messages showcasing the information, and then he makes this video. So Moist Critical is only a mouthpiece for Reddit bots and manipulation and stuff that he sees there. And it's not at all possible that Charlie came to the conclusions that he did based off of the research that he did. He also makes a point that the guy just could have reached out. I'm so curious as to how that would have changed things. Hey, Hasan, did you shock your dog? No. All right. Thanks, just wanted to check in. It's very clear that Hasan is denying the allegations in every way, shape, or form, so I don't understand how him saying he could have reached out would have changed that fact. I think people are being forced to look at what has happened and the videos and information provided to make their assumptions, because him just saying, nah, I didn't do it, isn't adding up for a lot of people. Now, this specific part right here, this point from Hasan is by far, hands down, my favorite part of this entire thing. This is so dumb that I have to assume that he's making a joke right now. But if he's not joking and this is actually his politics, let me know. But this sounds insane. Yeet goes over this Hasan Piker Instagram post saying Hasan is now calling CollarGate, you know, this entire event, a coordinated far-right / pro-Israel slander campaign. And this is that image. Hasan posted a picture of Kaya. She has no idea she's been the most famous dog on the internet for the past 2 days. Now, at the very bottom, because of a coordinated far-right / pro-Israel slander campaign. I don't know if Hasan has ever made a joke like that on the nose about his own politics and stuff. I really don't keep up with the politics side of it. Check out more Pegasus or Nicholas Dorio covering this shit. I don't know. For the sake of argument, I'm going to err on the side that he was fucking around. If he isn't, that is loony. That is batshit insane that people would choose to use what seems to be you shocking your dog as a coordinated pro-Israel campaign. I don't know if anyone brought up Israel until Hasan did. But now as we move forward, we start to see some people coming out of the woodwork to defend Hasan and saying things like, yo, I'll defend Hasan. Like, his dog is so loved. This post, of course, comes from Yeet. Valkyrie comments on CollarGate.
Well, first of all, the clip did look horrible. The clip was really bad. It was so bad. And it's understandable why everyone was freaking out about it, but I can verify that Kaya is the most loved and spoiled and just the most well-trained and best little baby or big baby that I have ever been around and that I have ever seen. So big baby. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. You would think that this kind of outrage, we would have seen it towards like the genocide and stuff, but you know, this priorities in this world are not where they should be.
What? Number one, that means nothing in the face of the information that we're, oh, she's loved, she's taken care of, whatnot. Okay, what's with the clip then? What's with what seems to be a shot collar being used? Number one, okay, like it's one person that is friends with them, so maybe, you know, you take their word for it if you trust this content creator. But the second thing, like, you know, you would expect this outrage for the genocide. Last time I checked, there were protests. Last time I checked, there were actually boots on the ground as opposed to internet people doing internet things and just talking about this over the last couple weeks, and it's been quite interesting for a lot of people. But secondly, obviously I'm doing drama content right now. We're talking about this. Like, I'm sure Valkyrie has been upset about things in her life when genocides are going on. That's like going out to eat and then, you know, like, oh my gosh, I can't finish all these McDonald's French fries, and then your buddy looking over at you and going, you know, there's kids starving in Africa, right? And you're complaining about being too full. It just feels like a point that's intentionally trying to like move away. Like, why are we even caring about this? Let's just move on. Next, we got one of his other huge supporters, Frogan, and this is what she had to say about it.
And then Hasan got canceled for what? For Kaya. That's a disaster. I've been seeing that shit all over my timeline. But he cleared his name.
You want me to go and put a certain collar on my body and be like, this is wrong. This is it. Is that what you want me to do?
Dude, the whole shock collar thing was crazy.
It is. I couldn't even be on fucking Twitter today. Every post was about the shock collar gate.
I don't either. Like, he debunked it.
God forbid somebody comes over and is like, oh, they there.
He literally debunked it. He showed the fucking collar on stream. Like, what more can be done?
People are being like, he taped this area to hide something. I'm like, dumbasses.
So just kind of like, psh, it's nothing. Like, come on, are you serious? Hasan effectively entirely debunked it. They just seem to dismiss it and like, yeah, it's just a load of hooey. Next up on our list of people defending Hasan, or I guess kind of in that area, we have Pokimane. Now, Pokimane had an interesting string of events happen around this time, which we're going to take a look at. She made this post here saying the episode, which apparently they were supposed to have a podcast episode where they were going to be talking about the Hasan drama. The episode was supposed to air as usual, but staff refused to upload it out of fear it'd cause drama, and also posted this statement without my approval. Sorry guys, we'll talk about everything on this week's episode and go on hiatus afterwards to restructure. And this is that post that came from Dexerto. Pokimane and Lily Pichu announced that they have canceled their scheduled podcast episode with Hasan. And in quotes here, I believe this is the message that they're putting out, this sweet and sour here. It did not feel right uploading tomorrow's episode at this moment in time. And so this is what it was entirely. Hey, taste buds. Sorry, no face cam. This is a tough one to write, but we wanted to give you all a heads up that we're unfortunately going to be missing our first scheduled Saturday video tomorrow. We've been watching the recent drama unfold concerning our guest, and it's been getting intense. We had a serious talk as a crew, and we all agreed that it did not feel right uploading tomorrow's episode at this moment in time. I don't need to read the whole thing, but essentially they're like, it's touchy, we don't want to talk about it, had a serious talk as a crew, it just doesn't seem it's going to not be conducive to their comfy true escape. Now, admittedly, it is a bit crazy that if staff refuse to upload this out of fear of like the backlash they're going to receive, that's a crazy issue to have with your staff on a podcast, that they're choosing not to air a video that, or like a podcast that you plan to put out. Now, the confusing bit about this is that Pokemon, you know, they're not responding on it. Maybe that's understandable given their position. I think it would be pretty easy to just say, you know, yay or nay, but clearly they're friends with Hasan. And so some of the comments here, Staff W, people were happy with the fact that the staff chose not to upload the podcast episode. And Nux goes Pokemon shock collar, think before you sleep. Seems like you hired competent people. You should give them a raise. Another individual, 37K likes. Throwing your staff under the bus instead of disavowing animal abuse is definitely something I'd expect from you. So it seems like people are making the case or making the assumption that the reason that they didn't put out this video, or that the staff chose not to, was because it seemed that Pokemon was defending or supporting Hasan, and in turn, that would be supporting animal abuse. Interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are on that, but that does seem to be the general trend of what people were making assumptions about in regard to Pokemon's lack of response. Now, this is where things take a twist. Hasan got ratted out by one of his insiders. For a while now, people have kind of recognized Ludwig is very buddy-buddy with Hasan, and very much does not like to ruffle this guy's feathers. There has been a few dramas surrounding that whole thing. Ludwig has taken back and removed clips that are just kind of calling out Hasan for doing dumb shit in the past, and he's had to completely remove those because he made Hasan mad. But this has to do with Ludwig's partner, Cutie Cinderella, because during, I believe, FaZe's subathon, the FaZe house, Stable Ronaldo, one of the members of it, had her on his stream, and she kind of let shit slip. She confirmed that the collar that Hasan is using is able to shock. She confirms that that is the model, it is the shock model, although Hasan has completely denied that claim.
So, what I had to say, I went to his house, I looked at the collar is taped off where I think there would be prongs. Yeah. Oh. There's no zap, there's only a vibrate function.
Here is another clip of her talking a bit more about it.
No, there's no shock. Like, the electric prongs are taken out of it.
But here's my thing, right?
Like, it's only a vibrate. Like, there's a setting for vibrate and there's a setting for shock.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So there's only since the prongs are in it only vibrates.
She confirms that there was tape on it. So all the people that are like, they're just doing conspiracies, they're just making shit up, there's tape on the collar. Well, there was, at least from Cutie Cinderella's perspective. And it seems like she was doing an attempt, and I didn't include other clips of it, but she's like, I've never seen the dog shocked. Like, I went there in person. There are supposed to be prongs. The prongs were removed, which means that this is the device that can hold the prongs, and there's tape on top of it. So she's confirmed not only that this is indeed a model that can shock the dog, but number two, that there was tape covering the backside of it, which Hasan never addresses when he reveals the collar. Why wouldn't he do that? I feel like that's pretty suspect. Wouldn't you want to make sure everyone is aware of, oh yeah, I did this because I've removed the prongs of it long ago? This just keeps that, you know, I don't know why he would put the tape on it, but maybe he'd have a reason to, outside of just trying to hide it. But now, moving on, we've got a few more statements from Hasan after this. So now he starts downplaying the use of a shock collar and that it wouldn't be a big deal even if he did use one.
People fundamentally don't understand how, like, any of the dog training stuff works either. Like, they don't realize that even the e-collars that do shock are unironically used to train fucking like service dogs and shit. They think it's like dog abuse in general. That's part of the reason why so many trainers have come out and been like, you guys are wrong. Like, shock collars are not like tasing the dog. It's like a TENS machine. I have literally fucking shocked myself in the past. Like, so people are just like oblivious to that in general.
All right, so really cool thing. If he just came out and said that and was like, yeah, I shocked Kaya. This is a perfectly normal thing that plenty of dog trainers do. Here's this example. Here's this example. This is my perspective on it. This is my feeling about it. Great. Awesome. Instead, Hasan completely denied that he was using this collar. So now him downplaying it seems a bit strange. At this point, yeah, sure, a lot of people may be up in arms about the morality of it, about you tasing the dog. Maybe that is the big issue. But I think it turned into a larger issue for a lot of people is that he's just seemingly, based off of the information provided, blatantly lying and changing his story over and over. And now as more information comes out and examples of how he's treated dogs in the past and stuff, it's like, well, you probably did use the shock collar on Kaya, okay. But now that you're like just so blatantly lying and now attempting to gaslight your community and move past it, now you're like, well, it's actually okay. Like, it's such a weird thing to be watching now. It's similar to Pirate Software's situation where it's just like when the lies are so clearly debunked, or like you can clearly point to reasons that it doesn't really add up and there's no justifiable response to that, there's no follow-up defense that makes any sense. It's weird to people. And now people are pressing Hasan because it just seems like he's bullshitting over and over and over again. One of the comments on this post, 7.7K upvotes, says here, so we've gone from she stubbed her paw to it's a vibration collar only, not for shocking, to if it was shock, his friends would tell us. Shock collars aren't bad anyway. Next one, talking about his desk reaching that he had done. Well, now instead of him saying that he was reaching for Zins, he was reaching for the dog gate button, not a shock button.
Guys that don't even know Kaya's name, coming in here saying abuser. I know. Can we just move on, please? Because the memes were funny in the first couple of days, but now the only people that still are like actively pushing it are people who are genuinely mentally ill, in the way that like anytime my fucking arm moves around or like I unlock the gate or some shit, like I do have a button on my desk for the gate, right? And I unlock the gate, and obviously if you have a dog, you know this already, when they hear that the gate is unlocked, they perk up. They're like, oh my God, he shocked her again. You know, it's just, they are weird stalkers that are demonstrating their mental illness. And I think it's just, you know, it is what it is.
He just diverts into calling the people that are calling this out or like drawing attention to it mentally ill. What? I don't think it's really displaying a mental illness for people to be questioning what doesn't seem to be like a very good defense or a narrative that is constantly changing. I don't know, just kind of talking out my ass here, but that's just, it feels so unnecessary and at the very least, just incredibly immature by him. Although admittedly, I guess to vouch for his side, I would be upset and maybe acting immature if I was being accused of abusing my dog if I hadn't. I feel like I'd be putting up a much better defense of myself if this was the case, but I'm digressing. Kind of closing this out, I've got a few older clips to show you guys, but first I want to show you his most up-to-date 5th narrative about what had happened in this situation, which is that Kaya wasn't even wearing that collar during the stream.
The ones who are like, look at this clip, look at that clip, look at this clip. Like, it's obvious he's moving his arms around. Like he's fucking constantly in a state of zapping. And they've moved away from the initial conversation, which was that like she didn't even have that collar on to begin with. And the only reason why I showed the collar was because people were clipping other instances. First of all, are any of the collars illegal? No. Even in the maximalist position, like the people that are claiming are just like a significant threat or whatever. Like most, I've said this already, e-collars that have shocking components that feel like a TENS machine, which I've used on myself in the past because, you know, I'm around dogs that have been trained with that and use it, is not only is it not illegal, but it's also straight up used in the e-fencing for people, and it's used in the training of like dogs in general.
Sorry, you've seen a lot of this today because it's just these aren't really making sense. So he starts with, okay, it wasn't even that collar. Why would he show the collar that he did then and never make the point, hey, by the way, she wasn't even wearing this one, but yes, I do have this. Like, why was that never a point until right now after the fact on the 5th retelling of what actually happened? There's photos from that stream that are showing the exact collar, the same collar that you were showing, which had the air tag and everything else attached to it, including the light on the front. of you were holding the exact same one during the stream where you were showing the collar. So that doesn't make any sense at all. Maybe he is misspeaking here or something. He doesn't really seem to be like having a cohesive thought in that moment. He kind of trails off and he's talking about old clips that are being shown, which I'll show you. And then he turns again to saying, actually, it's okay if you use a shock collar, which like a lot of people in his chat agree with. And again, I think there's a good chunk of people that would agree. Yeah, shock collars, like you can use those, whatever. There's two schools of thought. There are people that train their dogs. You learn about that stuff. I'm aware of it at the same time. And there are also people that are completely against it. But now the big issue is that Hasan is just like what seems to be, to a lot of people, clearly and blatantly lying or misrepresenting the situation over and over and over again. He's not even keeping the same story. And so lastly, to close this out, there's a couple of clips that I wanted to show you previous incidents with Hasan. First one is him accidentally showing the shock remote on stream. So here it comes here, shows it over in the corner. It's actually right next to me here. So there is that remote. That's the one that's used for that collar. And then you'll watch him move it out of frame. Interesting. This is a VOD from back in 2023, I believe, when he just had Kaya and he had stuck her and another dog into this cage and was just having them kind of fight with each other. And he was calling it social correction. He was making his stream watch it and they weren't really big fans. And I'm just gonna let it play for a bit here.
We're about to see how this works out. We interrupt this broadcast for a very special report. Fiona was able to hear it over the noise gate, but Fiona was just growling at Kaya when Kaya got too close to her face. Kaya, being the little bitch that she is bored of the attention she's not getting from Fiona and doing everything in her power. She will inevitably become a little bit more annoying and more of a nuisance. She's slowly but surely testing the boundaries, trying to see what she can get away with. She just learned now that she can get Fiona's attention by putting her fucking face all up in her face. Okay? Very quickly, she will most likely recognize, she will very quickly learn that that's probably a mistake. Because if she keeps pushing Fiona, Fiona is going to bite. Oh, there we go. Good job, Fiona. You fucking tell her. You tell her what's what. She needs to learn her goddamn place. Get fucking wrecked. Okay, one thing I will tell you, I've seen her when Fiona has snapped at her before. Kaya is really funny when she's scared. Okay, I know Fiona wants out. She's not getting out though. Oh yeah, it's happening again. What? It's really. Oh, look at her growling. She's fucking growling at her. So one funny thing that Kaya does when fucking Fiona snaps at her, she'll just go ah 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 and like run away. Run away like a fucking goofball crying. It's the funniest thing on the fucking planet. I want you guys to see it. Why Fiona's unfriendly. Fiona's the friendliest fucking dog on the planet. She's unfriendly because Kaya is a bitch, okay? Kaya is a puppy and she's fucking annoying. She wants constant round the clock attention. She wants constant fucking attention. She constantly wants to play. She constantly is like pestering Fiona. And of course, for that reason, Fiona is checking her behavior, which is the right thing to do. That's the point. She needs to learn. See? See? That's what I want her to do. Okay, she's now starting to get short with her. She's like, yeah, she's annoyed. Oh my God, she's such a fucking asshole. Brother, this is just playing not cool for Fiona. She obviously wants to leave. Okay. Everybody shut the fuck up. Okay, I know she wants to leave. I literally am not allowing her to leave because I want her to be in a confined space with Kaya to treat Kaya fucking manners. Do you want to see this or do you not want to see this? Because if you don't want to see this, I am going to literally fucking end the broadcast, okay? I'm going to, or at least I'm going to shut this part off. Shut the fuck up. You guys are so fucking annoying. Some of you are so fucking annoying. You've never had a pet. Just shut up, or you've only had a cat.
Now, this was a round where I was going to do the end of this video because that was all that had come out. But between me going to bed and getting up the next morning, some new stuff had come out. The maker of the collars has reached out to confirm what type Hasan was using. And number two, Hasan just fucking crashed out. Here's the first one. Of course, this is from Yeet. Their tweet says, the maker of the collar in CollarGate, Educators Collars, responded to an email request about the collar. Looks like the low to medium power RX090 receiver. Looks like someone cut off the contact points and put tape over it to maybe cover up any rough edges left for cutting. And this is that email. And it explains exactly that right there. You guys can see it there. If you want to be sure exactly which receiver it is, you will need to remove the tape. Following that though, we also have this, which is blowing up right now. Hasan crashes out and black pills on everything. And I'm just gonna let the clip play, because I'll be honest, I don't know if this is satirical. I don't really care for their politics or anything, but it seems like he's being very genuine. And from what I understand, the people that he's really upset with, or him saying, I hate the left and stuff, that's like his side of politics from what I understand. I'm just gonna let you guys see it for yourself.
I can't stand any of you dumb fucks in this goddamn chat. Oh my fucking God, I hate the left. I hate liberalism. I hate everything that's going on every single fucking day of the goddamn week. I hate my life. I hate fucking streaming. I hate socialism. I hate every single fucking person who thinks that the peak of activism is just being the most annoying, holier than thou, the most ultimately woke leftist. It's just, you did it. You did it. You have unlocked the fucking nihilism within me, okay? I am black pilled. Nothing will ever get better. We are never gonna make it out. We can't even have a normal fucking non-hostile goddamn conversation on any of these issues. Everybody just simply wants to fucking chirp into the wind because they have no power and they recognize their utter powerlessness in the face of unjustifiable constructs that we fucking exist under. And the best possible fucking thing you can do is just be goddamn annoying, okay? Oh God. Right when the reporter is asking you about optimism, I want to fucking, I want to just shut it off, dude. I want to shut everything off. I just want to go away. If I wasn't so goddamn stubborn, I would have a long time ago. Oh my Lord, dude. I 100% think you should someday go on sub-only mode. What do you mean? The most annoying people are literally like the 40-month subscribers. The person that caused me to fucking spiral just now is Hidejo Offliner or whatever. And that is like a routine nuisance and an offliner in this community. Okay? He is a consistent voice of nuisance. Okay? What are you talking about? The people that actually brick me, the people that actually cause me to fucking spiral out of control are always the people that have been in this fucking community for years, who never shut the fuck up. I have banned him before. It's literally just, like, I'm not even singling him out. He's just one example. But this happens all the fucking time, bro. Anyway, when I go back to the internet and I get fucking yelled at by a bunch of screenager iPad babies who are 38 years old, who think that the most like radical socialist position is to constantly chirp in a fucking Twitch streamer's chat and hyper scrutinize everything and then like refuse to understand like broader points, okay? Refuse to be open-minded. Then I'm blackpilled again. It's virtually impossible not to be blackpilled if you're online all the fucking time. Everything that we do here is so bad.
So after kind of watching that a time or two more, it does seem like he's being genuine. It seems that an old, a long time supporter of his stream is irritating him. And he crashes out, and from what I understand, like that's his side of politics that he's saying he hates and he thinks it's dumb, and he mentions like the woke virtue signaling stuff or something like that, holier than thou. And to me, it just comes off as like baby rage. I don't know how else to explain that. He just seems really immaturely upset. And maybe it's because I am tying this into, and I'm assuming that some of this frustration is coming from this entire Kaya situation, where it's like he's not able to convince people that what happened isn't the case. Like it's very clear. It looks like he shocked his dog. The dog was wearing the shock collar. We had the makers of the collar come out and say as much, that there was black tape on it, etc. It looks like there were supposed to be prongs. And with all this frustration, it just seems like he's just raging. I was like, oh my gosh, I should have quit, but I'm just so stubborn. Should have left, years ago. And this is coming from a guy who could retire his grandchildren's grandchildren with the amount of money that he's made. It's just so strange to see him be so upset over the thing that he himself has done. And it just seems like he doesn't want to admit this, and if you disagree with him, then you're conspiring against him, and he's so upset that no one is willing to, or at least the majority of people that, watch him are not willing to just this one, because it was so blatant. Also, when you rewrite your story 5-6 times, even your most devoted followers are still going to be a bit perturbed by that. And at the end of the day, I think it really falls into two main categories of people that are like really interested in this. I think it falls into the main, is the collar, is it an electric collar? We need to get to the bottom of this. And in that, there are people frustrated, like, is this moral or reprehensible that he's even using a shock collar to train the dog? Or on the other hand, just in general, the dude was freaking out and getting so pissy with Kaya because she set foot off of her little spot that she lays in typically on stream for like 4 to 6 hours. So even if there wasn't a shock collar at all, just kind of shitty behavior that you're so frustrated with the dog for just standing up, like just moving around a little. But I honestly think the other large side of this, which I kind of fall into, is like, I'm not even really in tune with any of the politics of it, but similar to Pirate Software, it's just bizarre how blatantly and just like openly he's lying and changing his story over and over and over again. Like we've had 5 different retellings of what happened that are all different. He's doing such a bad job of lying about it, and it would be such a slam dunk, or I guess it would have been, you know, 5 retellings ago for him to just admit what he had done and take the backlash for using a shock collar and just fucking moved on. But instead, he's dragged this out, and all of this frustration that's building up for him and woe is me, all of that is because of his own choices. I feel like a broken record given, you know, my history, but you would think, you know, that someone who has been doing this as long as Hasan has, he would probably understand that you can't really get away with changing your story a bunch and being so blatant when you've got the entire internet scrutiny looking over everything that you do, because all of it is streamed. But at the same time, it's very clear that Hasan's got an ego. He is one of the biggest streamers on Twitch. He's gonna have an ego about that. It just seems like he's letting his ego get the best of him. I'm not a psychologist, but if there are any in the comments, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on Hasan. But I guess we'll see from here. I doubt this is going to continue much longer. I think Hasan will just kind of turn into the I already responded to this and move on, similar to other creators that have done similar shit. Now, if you found this compilation of information useful and like to share it with other people, just give this video a thumbs up. It just helps boost it in the algorithm. Additionally, if you really like the content, liked how I covered it, and want to see more from me, consider subscribing. Really helps out the channel. We're getting very close to hitting our 100K end of the year goal, but genuinely, regardless of if you do either of those things, thank you for taking time out of your day to watch my video. It means the world to me, and it takes this video probably an hour out of your day, and it just, thank you so much. But with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Probably got a video out coming for you guys tomorrow, so enjoy that. See ya. Adios. Peace. Bye.